Sunday, September the 8th, 2019, and unusually I'm doing a Sunday walk, simply due to the weather. Hasn't been great lately, but today is reasonable, as you can see. Perfect actually for walking, so it's a rather pleasant 16-17 degrees C. Very little wind, although what there is a chill breeze, so perfect for walking from my perspective. Just about to undertake 11 miles or thereabouts to Yalding, a new walk, SWC 338, so fairly new walk again. So let's get cracking. It's 12 noon now, thereabouts. Should take about 5 hours tops, I would have thought. So let's see what this delightful Medway walk brings us. Got a bit of an industrial start. But not to worry, let's press on. Got an indication there of the area we're in and how it's become more industrialised. And in fact, just outside the Masonic Hall, we're stood in Hot Pocket Lane, so plenty of reference to times of yore. That's the divisional chapter of this Mason's Hall. A busy road crossing just there gets us into the corner of this field now, and hopefully more rural terrain. The text refers to crossing over a small stream here, but as is often the case down in Kent with its high population, the drain on the water resource is massive, so there isn't one at the moment. Onward journey's right here. Reaching the T-junction at Tudley Brook here. Scenery thus far has been pretty much agricultural. Corn stubble. Got the hum of the A228 ahead of us, which we need to cross shortly. Having crossed that road, follow this footpath sign on the opposite side, marked River Medway 1 mile. Sign their times here, prevent people dumping rubbish in it. Looks like the riverbank has recently been trimmed. I think I see lots of Himalayan balsam over there again, which I haven't really done anything about. Trimming it won't help. Crossing the first stile of the day. Wonderful outcrop of yellow flower here. I wonder if anybody knows what it is. Got a sort of reddish stem. Anyway, very pleasant. Hopefully that's native, as opposed to the balsam. Straight on at this juncture here, still pretty much following the rusty pylon cable run that was with us almost back at the station, or certainly that road, the A228, Then around 75 metres further, almost stood under the pylon run now, do a half left across this meadow now. There's a fair few buzzards flying around at the moment, good sign, and I've also noticed a little bit more bird song, so that's good to hear. Must have come out of their molt season. So don't take that bridge there, which is the car wide bridge referred to in the text, having come from that direction. You do need the GPS for this point though, because the notes are good, very good. But just to make sure, get the old GPS on your phone. I can see the new footbridge ahead. Just here. Seems to be a lot of camping going on in this area, and this is just ridiculous. Someone's had a barbie and left all the rubbish behind, including what looks like a windbreak or awning. Now on the Medway Valley path. This is the River Medway. And the amount of litter around here is unbelievable. It's just a joke. Wherever you get houseboats, access to cars, why can't these people take their litter home? Unbelievable. Approaching Sluice Weir Lock, about 1 o'clock now. After the sluice gate, we've now got a pleasant section of woodland walking. There's another example where a group of people have sat down next to the river, drinking, eating, not bothered with their rubbish. This walk thus far, I'm afraid to say, has been one of the most heavily littered and scorch marked by barbecues that I've ever done. Absolutely outrageous. I mean, the younger people of our country are all up in arms about global warming, etc., etc., and their futures leaving Europe, but they can't even look over their own after their own backyards at the moment. And look at that. Disgusting. What is going on in Kent? I know that it's the worst authority that I come across for maintenance of footpaths and navigation, signage, etc., etc. But the litter collection as well is atrocious. So apparently the footpath used to run straight ahead there, past this industrial or new industrial estate. I think we're now routed left here, alongside the river, hopefully. Just on the edge of East Peckham. Passing under the A228. And thus far this walk has been fairly urban in atmosphere. Been able to hear the traffic and motorbikes, etc. pretty much throughout. I'm not sure people are getting the education they need and understanding that from the river this ends up in the sea and on our beaches. So it's all well and good having a beach clean, but you need to deal with it at cause, which is people dumping stuff in the rivers in the first place and then dumping stuff on land which gets blown into the rivers. This country's really gone down the pan in the last 20-30 years. Never used to have this problem. Passing under the railway line. I think that's a nuthatch in the background. Yeah, that noise is the warning sound of one of the either nuthatch or small woodpecker, lesser spotted I'd say. And another thing that is going on this river today is blatant disregard for the private no fishing signs, and unfortunately it's Eastern Europeans that are doing it. So you know, Kent displays everything that's bad about the country at the moment, I feel. Sorry to be political, but there you go. Thus far this walk hasn't been one of my better ones. So we're now passing Stoneham Lock, disused, and hopefully this will be the better part of the walk, because the first 3 miles haven't been. This lock is disused, as you can see. The notes refer to this section as being a nice long rural stretch, so more my cup of tea, which is an appropriate expression as we approach Teapot Island, little museum of 8,000 plus teapots apparently. Yet another private notice. Not that they do any good. Looks like there's been some landslip here, and already I'm noticing less litter, albeit I can still hear the A228. Hopefully that will disappear. Seems to be a lot of boy races around this area. Come out into open countryside on the right, with the River Medway still on the left, and plenty of Oasts houses around, or conversions of. Tree down here, which I shall report on Pathwatch. Text refers to a new mobile home park, chalet park, and it looks like it's still being built. This path is very new, as is the fencing. Nicely placed Oast over there. Chalets are knocking out for around 100k, one of the residents told me. About 2.5k ground rent, if anyone's interested. Good high spec, 2 beds. They're next to Yalding Casual Moorings, this is. First sign for Teapot Island. Got a boathouse over there on the left, which is almost empty, yet behind me, absolutely rammed. I know it's a Sunday, but it's a bit commercial for me, all this at the moment. So as you can see, the garden's absolutely rammed. Advertising hoarding for those chalets. Twyford Bridge, built in the 14th century. Grade 1 listed, I believe. Excuse that racket in the background, a reflection of the kind of clientele you get in the Teapot. Now, although there's a bench or two knocking around here, I'm not going to use them. It's too busy for my liking. Quite amazing really how by contrast the boathouse is empty. The reason the boathouse is empty is because it's currently closed for whatever reason. There's a notice on the door. I didn't go over the bridge to read it, but there is a notice on the door, so it might be worth ringing ahead just to check. Now leaving the Medway Valley path and following the Greensand Way. So as you can see, that was Yalding Lees that we've just crossed, if you want to Google that for more information. Now crossing the town bridge, the longest stone bridge in Kent, built in the 15th century apparently. And there's a church over there on the right which I may well utilise. Crossing over the River Bute, which is full of trout, I notice. At least I think they're trout. The Church of St Peter and St Paul, Yalding, it's got an interesting tower on it. Almost Indianly in style. So here we go. Through the Lich Gate. Which is next to the library. Sounds like a buzzard mewing somewhere. Interesting clock, which is accurate. Interesting headstone. Entrance of Winton's Vault. And there is the family tomb. It is indeed an interesting tower, that. Very unusual. Got a couple of seats here over by the memorial lawn. Dedicated in June 2003. The names of those whose ashes are interred here are recorded in the Book of Remembrance in the church. Anyway, lunch is served here. It's 5 mile into the walk, almost on the nail. So 20 to 3, lunch has been had, and I've just tried the door here, locked, as you'd probably expect in this kind of village, based on the atmosphere and rubbish etc. we've seen thus far. I wouldn't think it'd be safe to leave this church unlocked. Onward journeys east, west. Sorry, east. Let's get it right. Straight through the churchyard. And something that struck me over lunch was that all the gravestones are facing east-west. Never really crossed my mind that, but I wonder if that's something we do in the UK. I must Google that and find out. Even the church is aligned in that direction as well. Going past an extension to the cemetery here. Nice bench there in the sun. Clearly attached to the church I've just left. More recent burials by the looks of it. Yet more building going on my left, just after the cemetery. Unbelievable. Are they ever going to stop? Passing the recreation ground referred to in the text. Yet another buzzard. Coming out of the new gate referred to in the text, I was unable to see Wharves Moat, the fine red brick house behind these trees. Clearly the text was written when there wasn't any tree cover, I suppose. I think this is the second stile of the day, or possibly third. Just at the back of the house known as Chevenys, going into a wildflower meadow apparently. And that's interesting, there's no stile here where there should be. So I'll have to report that on Path Watch as well. Just next to Riverside House. Decent vista on my left. Lovely Oast over there. Conversion of. Glass houses coming into view as well. Lovely autumn afternoon now as well. Quite right too. Wonder if this is an organic farm. Not much growing at the minute. Apparently there's a reservoir behind this raised bank. Just as well with all these crops needing watering. Grove Farm ahead of us. Take a left here. After Grove Farm. Looks like another property's about to appear here. All the services are laid on. Onward journey ahead. Shortly after coming through the field gate, do a right here in front of that field gate and continue right. Interesting orchard on my left, a mix of small oak and apples. Never come across that combination before. Terrible waste of fruit though. Passing Hunton Court's South Lodge. Then taking this permissive path for our onward journey. So here we are, St Mary's Hunton, exactly 7 mile into the walk per my GPS. And this is the same wording as on the Lich Gate at Shoreham Church, I'm pretty sure. Another lovely church. As the text indicated, the church was locked, so no getting in there today. There's no indication of such, but this driveway is also a footpath apparently. The text refers to the diagonal footpath across this field as being the most direct one, but could be hard going. Very unusually, the farmer here has reinstated it very quickly by the looks of the ploughing in the field. They're usually meant to do it within 2 weeks, and that looks like what he's done. So the onward journey is clear and it doesn't look that difficult. So the diagonal path it is. The other suggestion is that you follow the field edge, but that actually looks tougher going than the direct route. There's also a white finger post in the corner, I believe, on the other side of the field there. That then brings you into this overgrown footpath next to some noisy sheep. So here they all are. Sorry, nothing for you. Passing a corn on the cob field here, maize, views of the low weald, jay in the distance, making that noise. Now I saw these from down on low and wondered what they were. Pumpkins, the seeds of which I eat a lot of at the moment. Wonderful. Thinking about it, all these videos later, I don't think I've ever seen any pumpkins in full bloom, so to speak, because they will be very close to maturity now. Halloween not too far distant. The seeds are absolutely delightful though, highly recommended. Many health benefits, massively high on protein. Still following the Green Sam Way through Buston Manor farmyard, passing some more oasts which haven't yet been converted. Possibly because of their shape. Difficult to do 3 of them like that, I suppose. This is the high point clearly of today's walk, and from memory it's about 250 foot on the GPS map that I did earlier. The elevation aspect of it was showing a maximum height of 250 foot, minimum of 25 foot. So not much ascent today. Okay, there's an Eden Project type dome here, full of plants. Obviously something to do with filming for TV, so the local security lady told me. Anyway, there's the manor behind the wall there. I've now got to try and find the onward path, which isn't easy with all this palaver going on. I can't see any footpath marker. No. So here's the easily missed footpath marker, and there's the reason why. It's covered in and hidden in stinging nettles. But you can see a well-trodden path to the left. That's the one we want. Green Sam Way carries on straight ahead. So just to put that in perspective, I've come about, what, 100 yards from the dome, and that's where we're headed. left downhill. Got the stream on my right. Point 8 of the text, having just left Lughorse Lane behind us. The former Chevenix Mill, which latterly became a World War II hospital. Google that if you want to know more. A short bit of road walking there from West Street, which wasn't too bad on a Sunday afternoon. Only one vehicle passed me on the 150 metres that I walked. We're now continuing down Mill Lane, which crosses over the River Bult, B-E-U-L-T. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Bult, something like that. And there she blows. So just prior to Hatchgate Farm there, we leave this lane to take this footpath on the right with what appears to be a strawberry farm on the left. Polytunnel 1. Got a fairly decent section of walking now alongside the River Bult. So a bit of repetition now as we go across Yalding Lees again. Okay, now at the rear of the boathouse, going to attempt the more adventurous route back to the station. So here we go. Yalding Fen, and this afternoon they've got a Parish Picnic on somewhere near here. Now entering Yalding Fen, and a wonderful community orchard it is. Do like these places. So this is it, the Parish Community Picnic. Having left the community picnic behind me, the footpath straightens out now, heading west. 1709, I'm aiming to get to 1747 via Strood. The pond there on the right, just before the railway line, has completely dried up, reflecting the heavy demand for water in this county at the moment. Certainly not the lack of rainfall, but the heavy demand for water. Crossing over the rail line, and one just went past as I got to it. See, you know, if you've got the right mindset, these rail crossings are no problem at all. It's just a few idiots are going to cause ramblers like myself massive problems if they decide to shut crossings such as this. Yalding station just up ahead. That section clearly isn't wet and boggy at this time of the year, so no problem there. The only slight issue is a few stinging nettles and a couple of overhanging brambles, but secateurs will sort that out. And long trousers, of course, which I always wear. You then come out into this open field and it looks like Bob's your uncle. So again, this is the public path just prior to the road. Not too bad. Someone's cut it back by the looks of it. So here we are, 4 3/4 hours, 11.7 miles later, back at Yalding. And that last section, the so-called adventurous route, wasn't too bad at all, as highlighted, and it brings you out only what, 75-100 metres from the station. So I'd say that's more interesting than walking on the road beside the canal. However, overall, that walk wasn't really much interest to me until at least 3 miles had elapsed and we reached the sluice. Sluice Weir Lock. Thereafter, the walk was fine, but prior to that, I've never seen so much rubbish, litter, illegal fishing. It's just depressing. That is a reflection of what the what this part of England, the southeast, has become. I'm afraid it's certainly changed in the 10 years since I've started doing these films. It's getting harder for the authors of these walks to create decent walks now, I think, as well, because although this walk was decent after the first 3 miles, well researched and written, etc., it's hard to get away from the urban elements. Today's walk was certainly one of those. I never felt I was really in the countryside, to be honest with you, and that's due to the population density in the southeast now, starting to take massive effect. It's got to be sorted out. So, having ended the walk on a sort of grumble, it was a good day's outing. Weather held out, fantastic for walking, decent 11.7 miles, and yeah, lovely cool breeze throughout, perfect walking weather. So from that point of view it was good, but it's going to be hard to replicate the time out walks of book 1 and 2 plus the initial possible 250, because it's getting harder for the authors to find decent walks now, I feel, as the southeast becomes slowly more urbanised. And even as I speak, you got a new set of houses next to Yalding station. I just don't understand why we're building brick houses, concreting over the whole of the southeast now. It's not necessary. The Norwegians have come up with a wooden design, a kind of kit that can be whacked up on brownfield sites in weeks. That's what we should be adapting to, not the in the green belt, concreting it over. It's really annoying. Today's walk was a depressing reflection of what's going on, really. Rubbish everywhere. That was really depressing. And look at this, even on the railway line, no one seems to care, no enforcement. We should be making better use of drone technology, I feel. You could have drones scooting up and down the river, filming people illegally fishing, for example. We just don't use the technology, because I don't think people are interested currently anyway. Anyway, that's the end of that groan. Free walk, SWC walk 338 completed.